Hello and welcome to this episode of Hell's Tranny, and today I'm going to be discussing an article in the Guardian newspaper, or at least the online Guardian anyway. And I'm not a big fan of the Guardian, but this particular article really got me annoyed, and it wasn't because the Guardian had wrote it, it was because of what was actually in it. Okay, so the headline is UK doctor prescribing cross-sex hormones to children as young as 12. Yep, you heard it folks, 12. And this is cross-sex hormones, not puberty blockers, which we'll get into as well. Okay, so this article comes from the 11th, so it was only yesterday or the day before, depending when this video goes up. And basically it's about a clinic in Wales. So Helen Weberle, a GP in Wales, has set up a private gender clinic and recently started treating children, a handful of whom she has started on cross-sex hormones, including a 12-year-old. Yeah, a 12-year-old. And I'm sorry, but giving a 12-year-old, in this case it's testosterone, we'll get to that in a minute, or estrogen, because they think they're transgender, is fucking ridiculous. It's insane. Okay, so the article then goes on to say that he had been on puberty blockers since the age of 9. Not sure I agree with that, but we'll get to that later because there's other things in this article that really worry. Anyway, he said he would now have to wait until 16 to get testosterone. And 16 is when you are to a large extent considered an adult, so 16 should be of an age where you are able to, or at least considered able to make an informed decision. Some people would argue that you're not when you're 16, but at least you have actually reached some sort of age, not 12. 12 is insane. You don't know whether you're trans or not at 12. It says this child has always been a boy, never worn a dress, always played with boys, and he was so ready. His mates are starting puberty and he's desperate to start puberty. I don't care if you're desperate to start puberty. I'm pretty sure I remember being quite a late bloomer, so I was sort of 15 anyway when I sort of, went through puberty. And you don't really get to decide when you start. It kind of just happens, at least first time round. That's a fucking ridiculous statement. You can't just choose to start when you want to. That's not how it works. And, well, I get that you're on these blockers and you don't want to wait, but unfortunately, you should wait. Dr. James Barrett, a consultant psychiatrist at Charing Cross Clinic, the oldest gender identity service in the UK, said he had concerns about treating children with cross-sex hormones. Too fucking right. Now, for those who don't know, Charing Cross in the UK is basically the main place. There's there and there's like Nottingham, and there are a few others, but they're the two like big clinics. And James Barrett, although I don't know this person, guessing because he's a psychiatrist, unlike the person Helen Weberle, who's just started her own clinic, who's just a GP, I'm guessing he's got some clue what he's talking about. So just from that statement you've got to think, hang on, this is a bit of a problem. Anyway, so it goes on to say, it says, if you wait until puberty... Anyway, it goes on to say, if you wait until puberty has got a little way along, a fair proportion of the children change the clinical presentation and feel more like straightforward lesbian and gay kids. So basically what he's saying is that if you allow things to go naturally, a fair few of these kids are not trans, they're just gay. Okay, so anyway, there's a few little bits in there, but it then goes on to say that NHS England is reviewing its guidance about the age at which hormones can be prescribed. Right, I don't know why I do know why they're reviewing it. It says transgender support charities are calling for the age limit to be lowered, saying the current minimum age of 16 is arbitrary, and suggesting clinicians should be able to make the decision of when to prescribe hormones on a case-by-case basis. Do they not take any notice of their clinical psychologists? Because I'm pretty sure that Barrett said that a fair number of these kids change their mind once puberty has started, and turns out that they're just gay. So even Barrett himself is saying, oh no, hang on, we can't be sure whether these kids are trans or not. I can do all the psychological stuff that I want, but we can't possibly actually know, because, you know, we can't just read people's minds. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, it says, basing it on age is completely inappropriate. Well, no, it's not. When you're 16, I'm going to say I still argued at 16, you know, you don't necessarily know what's going on, because most 16-year-old kids are full of shit, basically. But at least you can say, well, you've reached an age of consent, and you can choose then to do this, that, or the other. So anyway, Susie Green, head of Mermaids. Now, Mermaids is a charity, and it's a good charity, and it helps kids and that whatnot. But it's obviously not so good if they're doing this. He says, we believe it should be in line with a young person's maturity and their ability to understand what's involved. How are you going to prove that? Because kids would just say whatever they want, and how do you know that they're not being sort of coached into saying whatever? I'm not saying parents are doing that, by the way, but you know, you don't know. You need somebody to be at that age of consent. This is why you can't drive until you're 17. It's fucking ridiculous. There is an age of consent for a reason. You can't be tried for a crime under a certain age. I think, is it 15 you can be tried as an adult? I'm not 100% sure, but so what you're saying is then if you're going to give cross-sex hormones to somebody who's 12 because you've decided that they are adult enough to decide this for themselves, then if they go out and commit crime, then they should go to an adult prison, because they're competent enough to be able to make that decision. So if they commit a crime, they should be treated as an adult and sent to an adult prison. Do you see where this goes? It's fucking ridiculous. Okay, it then goes on to say the calls for changes to the NHS protocol follow a dramatic increase in referrals to the gender identity clinics across the country, particularly among children and adolescents. Now, yeah, I admit there has been a big increase. I mean, it's basically doubled. You know, it's gone up from quite a lot since 2009, which I will show you on this graph here, which is actually in this article as well. However, that's an argument for increasing the number of clinicians, not just changing the protocols because we've got some delays, so therefore we should just relax the rules. That's ridiculous. You can't relax. They've been set out like that for a reason. So just relaxing them because, oh, we've got a queue, we'll just push people through. I mean, that's that's just ridiculous. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to get I don't know, people who need life-saving surgery and go, oh, we've got quite a lot of people in this queue and we don't really have the doctors to do the surgery. I know, let's just get let's relax the rules a little bit and get the janitor. Well, you know, it's pretty good with a bit of maintenance here and there and this, that and the other, so I'm pretty sure he can perform open heart surgery. Yeah, we'll relax the rules, we'll allow them to perform the surgery, because that way we can rush these people through and we don't have to worry about hiring more doctors. We can just get these people to do it and it'll be absolutely fine. There'll be no problem there. I can't see any issue with that at all. Can you? At all? Not at all. Right, the next part of this article really pisses me off, because although it doesn't say it outright and exactly what it's suggesting. Anyway, it says some teenagers denied hormones by them off the internet. You know, I imagine they probably do. Anyway, which experts say is deeply concerning. Yeah, I would say it's concerning because you don't know what you're getting off the internet, and that could be potentially very dangerous. We know this. I know this. Most people know this. And these teenagers probably know this as well. Okay, anyway, it goes on to say, it's really common, certainly with older teens, said Green, who is the mermaids person. A lot of them self-medicate because they just can't wait. And we know it's pretty much endemic. It's not illegal, but it's not recommended. Okay, well, because obviously the next paragraph goes on, there are long waiting times for young trans people to get treatments at gender identity clinics. And he says, standing for GIS, the waiting time for the first appointment is 12 months. That's true, and that's their comment. It is a long waiting time, and it shouldn't be that long. But that previous paragraph seems to be suggesting that, we don't like these kids buying it off the internet, so what we will do is we will just prescribe them hormones instead because it's safer. But that's fucking really insane, because what you're saying is rather than try to crack down on dodgy sales of drugs on the internet, you're going to cave into these kids and give them medications that they don't necessarily need because you feel it's a bit safer coming from you than it is from them. That's like saying, I had to give my son or my daughter £50 at the weekend because they said if I didn't give it to them they'd just go out and steal it, so I just caved in and gave them the £50, rather than banishing them to the room and not allowing them to ever go out again. That's the analogy. It's the only analogy I can think of. It's ridiculous. You're just caving in. This is what's happening with all these social justice warriors and this, that and the other, and they come in and they go, we want, if you don't give us it, we'll blah 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 and blah. Oh, fucking shut up. Yeah, anything for quiet life. That's the whole, they just pound their feet until they get their own way. You kind of, this is ridiculous. Yeah, kids shouldn't be buying stuff on the internet, but surely isn't that for the parents to sort out, not for you to go, we'll just give you the ones from there. You're basically giving the parents license to not parent, is what you're doing. You're basically saying to the parents, no, you don't have to look after your kids, you don't have to make sure that they're behaving themselves and generally having some sort of discipline about their upbringing. No, don't worry, we'll just cave in and give them whatever they want. The last part of this article is talking about the evidence for hormones and hormone blockers. And he says, NHS England's evidence review examines concerns about the impact of hormones and hormone blockers on growth, bone density and cognitive development. The reality is we still don't have the long-term outcome data, said Polly Carmichael, the lead clinician at the Tavistock Clinic. Tavistock is the clinic for young transgender people. It's like a separate thing. What's happening is our society is moving faster than the evidence base. Well, maybe society needs to fucking slow down slightly then. Because if we don't know, we shouldn't be just giving people shit because we feel like it. Right, so anyway, it goes on to say, Carmichael added that one hypothetical risk was starting hormone therapy in the early stages of puberty. It seems there may be something about puberty that's important in terms of identity formation, and so there are questions about if you intervene in the early stages, is the outcome going to be the same for that person as if you didn't? But it's incredibly hard for young people if there's a feeling that there is a treatment on offer, but they're being denied it. But maybe they need to be denied it to an extent, because you've just said that there's an issue with giving it to them. But again, because it could basically fuck up their mind, seriously, if what you're saying is true. So what you're saying is that, we don't mind taking the risk of fucking up their minds, fucking up these kids' minds, because they get frustrated. And we don't want these kids to be frustrated at all. We just want to, anything for quiet life so that we don't have to deal with any of this shit. Fucking ridiculous. Carmichael said she understood the really strong polarised views on the subject of lowering the age of hormone prescription. Right, okay. Do I think very strongly it should stay at 16? No. Do I think very strongly it should go down to 14? No. What I feel very strongly is what we want to be doing is what feels right for young people. Can I like, highlight this feels? No, we should be doing whatever the evidence, the scientific evidence points towards as being the correct thing to do, not what everybody feels like doing.